I'm Bryce Roberts, a grain merchandiser here with Ag Valley. Today I've invited Taylor Sauter. He came in from Colorado. He works for Advanced Trading, one of our brokers that we use and talk to. And today I thought we'd go through the WASDE that came out last week. One thing that really caught my eye is how tight we got on the old crop stocks. Taylor, could you kind of go through some of that with us, please?
Yeah, definitely. So we had the stocks report, last month, and so the USDA kind of took into some of that consideration, and then we've had a really robust export program here this year, and the sales just continue. And we had gotten to a point where we'd actually oversold what the USDA had forecasted on their prior WASDE, so we needed an adjustment, and so we got that. Yeah. And then that helped, lower the carryout a little bit. Yeah. So a nice bump up from there. I'd say we could see maybe even a little further adjustment there on the export number, but we're pretty close, depending on how this year finishes out.
Yeah. So, given how tight we got there, does it surprise you some that our prices stayed so low here for these farmers?
Yeah, it is. It's a little surprising, and I think the market, the fund crowd is definitely kind of shifting their eyes more to new crop than old crop. The market feels like it's wrestling a lot with things, and one being that talking about old crop is the basis up until maybe like right now has been fairly soft in the market, and it's kind of going, man, is there really more corn around than the USDA is saying? And so there's that element. And then looking out to new crop, on the balance sheet for the WASDE, so we had the acres got adjusted, so that got taken into account from the June report, and then we had the yield was left unchanged, which I think most expected that. It's pretty abnormal. I think they've done it once in history, raised it in this report. And then the demand side, we've got a really robust new crop export picture, and part of that is the USDA did bump up the Brazilian crop a little. They went to 132 million tons. But the trade, I think, is by and large 140. The highest estimate right now is like 150 in Brazil. And so you have this, I'd call it just a 10 million ton, or for easy math, 390 million bushel difference. And I think the funds are saying, you got to recognize that USDA, and you're putting it into our export number, and so that I think they're taking that off. And if you do that, then you get back over a 2 billion bushel carryout. That's before we even talk about the yield. Right. And so I think that's where the market's kind of going and saying, okay, this is where we're at. We have some things that need to happen. One, Brazil is slow to harvest, and so we're maybe 30-40% harvested down there right now, so it's happening, but we're way behind average. It's a big crop. The farmer's not selling. He sees low prices too, so he's not very happy. He's not selling, and then there's been a lot of local demand that's been growing up. They've increased their ethanol production significantly, so they're trying to get that covered, and then it'll start kind of spilling into the export market. But it's allowed us to have this really nice old crop export program and a tight balance sheet. So there's just a lot of this stuff kind of going back and forth.
So looking forward, I guess more in the new crop is, you said, we're looking at just an over 2 billion carryout.
Well, the USDA didn't publish that. They're a lot tighter. They're like at 1.7-ish and change, or maybe a little under that.
So does some of that change here? We look at the acres being the third most since like 1940s, and yield's probably going to increase given the rains across the Corn Belt.
Yeah, I think that's the trade is definitely thinking, okay, could yield go higher? It was interesting, if you were to back up, probably in March, say this is the bull. The argument would have been, can we even hit trend anymore? Like, what have we stopped with this trend? And we're not going to keep increasing year over year. And there was a lot of talk about that, and then that talk seems to have really subsided, and we've kind of gone to like, how big can we get? We hold steady here in our good to excellent rating. We haven't really held, I think it's over 70% through August. We've done it maybe 2 times in history, and we've been 8 to 9 bushel over trend when we've done that. And so, could we see an adjustment higher? Yeah, we definitely could. We've got a lot of time to play out too, though. So it's, the funds have, you could argue, gotten a cart in front of the horse, but that's what they get paid to do, right? To guess. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Right. No, I think those are all good points. So we keep looking forward here at new crop. Values aren't super attractive yet. Maybe we get a weather bump or a weather rally at some point. I mean, what do you see coming here? I mean.
Yeah, we've got the weather still to play out. How do we get finished pollination here? And then, what are our yield prospects? We won't have any hard things to look at till probably September, when we start doing yield checks. And then we've got, trade uncertainty, which we all know can change a lot. And then probably, the final thing I think from just an opportunity standpoint is, we've got good carries in the market thus far. If the basis stays soft or just the market in general stays soft, those are going to widen out.
Okay.
So, I think that's an opportunity from a farming aspect is, whether it's a hedge to arrive contract and rolling out through the carry, if you've got space, or selling the forward carry, those are, you gotta capture the carry. You can't look at it. We can all look at it, but those are nice carries. You got to do something with it. If I put my marketing hat on, you say, what could be the big opportunities this year? Those are probably that might be it.
So would you take some of those carries now, or are you bullish the carry here?
If nothing changes, I would say we probably widen out. Well, we widen out, or the carries get bigger.
Sure.
So could you get more carry from Dece to March or Dece to July? I would say today you probably could.
Yeah. I think those are all very good points here that Taylor brings up in our new crop balance sheet. And, for those who do have space, I think taking advantage of these carries, even now, I think that the Dece to March even pays for storage, in my opinion, trading 15 cents or so. And so, you put that on 3 or 4 months there of storage, it's certainly paying you some money there. So, it might be some opportunities for marketing perspectives. I guess changing over to the new crop bean side, we don't have a lot of acres here. It seems to be the norm across the
Everybody
U.S.
keeps saying that. Yeah, where are the beans?
Yeah. Everybody's wondering where all the beans are. I mean, anything that stood out to you in the bean?
Not a lot. We didn't change the balance sheet too much. I think we upped the crush just a little bit. I mean, we've got, David City coming online here in the state. We've got the Mitchell plant will come online this fall as well in South Dakota. So the crush industry keeps going. Actually, we crossed over the 50% mark. So in the you want to call the food versus fuel argument, the USDA on their balance sheet, they went to 51% of the oil will go towards biofuel. So
wow, okay.
So that's a definite change from a demand standpoint. But no, the balance sheet on beans, I think we were right around 300 million bushel, 310 somewhere in there. So it's relatively tight, and beans aren't made till August, so we got time, and it doesn't take much of a yield drop in beans to get friendly. So, from that standpoint, a lot could change here. We obviously have the big wild cards, China. What do they want to do this fall, as well with beans and our export program, but. I think from beans, just if China even stays out of the market for a bit this fall, I would say, you could have that kind of bearish heaviness environment in the fall just because everybody's how do we handle all this stuff? Corn, good crop coming, beans, we got a lot of just storage will be a premium and it'll be hard to find. And then you probably see some of that snapback, in the market. We put it away, find homes for things, and then you'll see after we kind of chew through that, kind of see the processors come back in because the balance sheet is relatively tight in that aspect. So, probably see some basis volatility from that standpoint.
Right. No, I think those are all good points on the bean side. I mean, even locally here, for the state of Nebraska with the whole new David City plant coming on, we're going to be able to chew through a majority of the state's production just locally.
Definitely.
Really, if everybody can handle it and storage. So, I mean, as you can tell, there wasn't a lot of surprises from the bean side for us. Realizing acres are down, be interesting to see what production does here. As you said, we get through August and we go from there. Otherwise, thank you, Taylor, for
glad to be on.
Appreciate it. Yeah. But otherwise, as you guys have questions, certainly give me a holler. We got guys like Taylor at our disposal here from our side to always ask new questions too. So anyway, thank you, Taylor, for hopping on.
Yep, definitely, anytime.
We'll do this again sometime.
All right, thanks.